to my YouTube channel. I'm here today with my lovely friend Jade, who is mum to Lily, who is playing down there, and Bella is actually napping at the moment. Today's video is a debate about weaning, and in particular puree or baby-led weaning, and we are going to give our views on the topic and then head over to some of our other mums and get their views as well. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. First up, we will explain where we are at with our babies in terms of weaning. So with Bella, she is now 4.5 months old. So in the eyes of the health visitors at the moment, she should not currently be weaning. And I don't know if this is a new fad or just a trend, and if it's going to go back to the old ways of weaning, or if this is going to be a thing from now on. But back when I was weaned, and a lot of people my age and even a little bit younger, people were weaning their babies from even 3 months. I don't know about you with your parents.
Yeah, my mum gave me food when I was probably about 3-4 months old.
Yeah. It's only been recently that it's gone up to 6 months, and I feel like you have to be the judge yourself. You have to kind of look at your baby, look at where they're at in terms of development, and just be the judge and see where they're at. Because with Bella, she's quite a hungry baby. She feeds every maybe 2 hours at the moment, so I feel like she might need to be weaned a little bit earlier. But I'm just going to see how she goes. She has tried the odd bits of food here and there, and I don't think I'm going to wean her fully until she's about 6 months. But we shall see. Lily's just like rolling onto my foot right now. Hi, Lily! Lily's gonna come say hi.
Oh, say hello,
everybody. Gorgeous Lily. How old is Lily now?
7 months.
7 months. So did you want to explain where you are at with weaning?
So we, because she's obviously been breastfed from birth, she was up all night, probably every half an hour, and feeding every single time in the night. So I made the decision, after doing all of my research, to wean her at about 4.5 months. But we just weren't in a rush, so we started with a little bit of baby rice, and then moved on from there really. But after like a week, I gave her some vegetables, and she seemed to be really enjoying it, so we just carried on, let her kind of tell us what she wanted.
I think that's the thing really, you just kind of like not got to be in a rush about it. You just got to see how your baby goes, and I think that's the plan with me, is that I've got this thing in my head, I don't know if you've heard it, food is for fun before one. And it's just more about them trying different flavours and different textures and everything, and it not being so much about sustenance and how much they're getting, but more about sort of allowing them to try the different foods and get used to eating lumps, like, because you said that Lily's only just sort of getting used to lumps, isn't she?
Well, because we were gonna start off by doing like one vegetable for 3 days, but she, like, if she just didn't like something, then we were just like giving it her for the sake of it, so we just kind of went with what she wanted. And actually we went a lot quicker than we wanted to, because that's just the kind of thing we got from her. I wanted to go through quite a lot of vegetables, but we ended up just mixing them together in the end, because I was like, well, it must be alright. So we just kind of followed what she wants really.
Were you doing that for sort of an allergy reason, to like make sure that she's not allergic to the vegetables?
We started off that way, and then I just thought, well, like, because obviously we did things like potatoes, because the health visitor, actually I went to see her when Lily was 5 months, because we were struggling with her sleep so much. And she actually said, because I thought I'd get in trouble, I went in and I was like, don't tell me off for weaning early, and she was like, no, it's fine. But she just obviously helped me do it properly, so she was like, make sure you give her something starchy at night that might help her sleep. So obviously she was having potato and things from about 5 months. So all I really did was mix like a vegetable with the potato, so I would have known what would be the cause of the allergy. But all I will say from experience is, if when you are weaning, do vegetables before fruit. Because Lily is a fruit monster.
They develop a sweet tooth, don't they, if you go straight in with fruit, and that's kind of a big thing that I took when I was doing my research, to start with vegetables. But well, I don't know about you, I found that a lot of the purees out there are a vegetable and a fruit.
Yeah.
And I only actually found a few that were just vegetables. So
what I did is I bought silicone freezer. I don't even know what they're called.
Mould?
Mould, yeah. And there's like 9 sections to it, and so I just made my own. I boiled up like some potatoes, and then I just added in like a bit of carrot and a bit of broccoli.
Yeah.
And that's how we started, and we froze them. Yeah, then it got a bit difficult because she was starting to not like the things that I was making, so being wasted. So we did move to jars.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. I think a lot of mums put pressure on themselves to make it themselves. And I always said before Bella was born, I'm making all my food myself. I'm absolutely never buying jars and sachets. And then now that I've got her, I can't imagine ever having the time to make all of her food like myself. So I now see why a lot of mums do opt for the sachets and the jars. And I think if you opt for the organic ones that haven't got like preservatives and chemicals and salt and sugar in them,
it's actually really good.
Yeah, exactly.
If you read the ingredients, they are just pure like vegetables or whatever. Obviously, is the meal, but for me, it's not about time. I can get the time to make her the food. It's more, I'm making 9 portions of like a fish pie, for example, and she doesn't like it. So then I've got to throw it away. So actually, while we're learning what she likes and what she doesn't like, it's just better for us to buy the jars. Yeah. And then obviously when she's like eating food with us, she'll have what we have, obviously just with less salt and things like that.
Yeah, totally agree. And in Aldi, I get my sachets of food from Aldi. They're only 45p, and by the time you've bought all the vegetables, you've like blended it all up, and you've wasted loads of time doing that, you might as well just spend 45p on the sachet.
And Morrison's, actually, we go to Morrison's because they do 10 jars for a fiver, so
that's really good. Yeah,
so, yeah, they're really good.
With the health visitor thing, I think they are told to tell you 6 months now, whereas in actual fact, when I've been doing my research, I've actually read that 18 weeks is when their digestive system is actually ready for the food. So that's like the very, very minimum earliest time you can give them any food.
And all food is labelled with months. Like we started with the small jars, and they say 4 to 6 months on. You can get loads of snacks that again will help with like finger foods if that's for you. Again for 6 months. Although they do obviously the corn crisps or whatever they're called. They're like the puffed ones that dissolve. And we've been giving those to her since she was 5 months. And, you know, we're never leaving her or anything. So they just dissolve, and she spits out whatever she can't eat. So which is quite good. So everything's labelled with months, even when you start to go on to lumps, it says 7 months. So just, well, obviously if you want to wean early, don't be afraid, because you obviously can if it's labelled.
And I know there is this massive thing out there that they are trying to change the labelling on pureed food so that it's not 4 to 6 months, so there's no age on it, so that the official health visitor guidance is what everyone then takes. However, if medical people are able to recommend that babies can wean for 18 weeks onwards, I don't see why it's a problem. People also worry about the choking thing, I think, as well, and that's why I think it's probably important to check that your baby's actually able to sit up and all of those things. There are actually some lists online of things that you should look for to see if your baby is ready for weaning, and one of them is sitting up. Now Bella isn't actually able to sit up unaided yet, but she does have a very strong back when she sits in her bumble or her high chair, and because I'm not giving her lumpy food, I know there's not a choking risk.
That's the same with us. Lily wasn't ready to sit up either, and we put her in a bumbo, and that was supporting enough. And obviously, like you say, you're giving them a bit of baby rice. It's not lumpy, like enough, you know, to choke on. And we're not leaving her. If she even slipped, like, because she got into a habit of like arching her back over it. That's when we realised we needed a supporting high chair. Again, but we were there and we stopped her doing it.
So in terms of puree versus baby-led weaning then, are you sort of a mix of the two, or are you leaning more towards one or the other?
So I've got some friends who do baby-led weaning, and I having worked in a nursery, I've met a lot of parents that want us to do that with their children.
Yeah.
But I personally prefer the puree route, but with, obviously, like, we give her the, I call them crisps, but that sounds awful.
I know what you mean.
Snack.
Like the organic
that's
stars and stuff. Yeah.
So we give her those, and obviously I'm not going to put them on the spoon and make her eat them on a spoon. But like, I'm just a big believer in making my life easier, and I think that will help Lily in the long run, because I'm not going to, for example, I know some people that feed their children baby-led weaning foods that us as adults don't actually eat with our hands.
Yeah.
And I just think then you're going to have to teach your child what you do and don't eat. Whereas, in my opinion, I'm feeding her the foods that she would eat with a knife and fork. Yeah. She's then eating things like cucumber sticks and things that we eat with our hands. Yeah. So hopefully she'll just grow up knowing that is obviously, you know, how we do it.
Yeah. I think with Bella, what we're going to do is this puree thing now is literally us giving her different textures, different flavours, and then so it's not about how much she's getting at all. And then when she's ready, because she's not actually putting things, she puts things in her mouth, but then she'll sort of let go of it, so she wouldn't be able to put food in her mouth. But when she is ready, then we'll start giving her carrot sticks, cucumber sticks, broccoli, stuff like that, and putting it in her mouth. But I won't be letting her eat things like spag bol, for example, with her fingers, because that would just be a nightmare. So I will be feeding that to her until she's able to. But yeah, I think this whole 6-month thing, I think kind of just look at your baby, know your baby, see when they're ready, and ultimately it's mum's decision on when.
And don't be afraid to get advice, like with like sleeping, feeding, everything. I always, like, I might put it on Facebook, I might put it in the breastfeeding group, and I ask advice, and I collate like everyone's different opinions, and then I kind of think, well, I like what you're doing, but I also like this, and then I kind of make my own thing, because like you just said, it's mum's decision, and it's whatever you're comfortable with, really.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I've done with feeding. Like, I've you that's gone down the whole puree route first, but then in some of my classes they're very like blinkered, like just baby-led weaning, nothing else. So I've kind of got a mix of the two. I'm sort of more leaning towards puree, because I also think babies are expected with baby-led weaning to go straight from milk to then solid foods, and it's like there's no middle ground. So I'm kind of introducing the middle ground for Bella. But yeah, I think, like you said, just take a mixture of what everyone says, you know your baby, and just go with that.
But also, Lily would not have had anything to do with baby-led weaning, because even now, giving her a puree that's got a slight lump in, well, up until about a week ago, she would just heave, and because she doesn't know what to do with it. She doesn't know, you know, she's used to milk. You just suck and swallow, don't you? And you don't need to chew anything. But yeah, I couldn't imagine just giving her like a straight like piece of broccoli from milk, because she just wouldn't know what to do.
That is it from us. We are just going to head over to some other mums that I have met through Instagram and YouTube and Facebook, who have also given us their opinions on the topic. So we'll head over to them now.
Hi guys, so today's debate is on baby-led or puree. Well, for me, I do a mixture with Ivy. I do a bit of both, so she gets a bit of every texture really, and I think that's just the best way for her. Although at 6 months I did just start with puree, because purely baby-led weaning just scared me. But ever since we introduced baby-led at about 7 months, I've noticed that her speech has come on massively. But I don't agree with the early weaning at all. So definitely, I'd say start at 6 months, and then it's entirely up to you whether you do baby-led fully or if you do puree fully.
When we were weaning my first baby, which was about 3 years ago now, we decided to use baby-led weaning. I'd read up a lot about it. It was a relatively new thing at the time. But I had heard great things about it, and that it was a lot less hassle to prepare, and that it helped them to not be fussy, which I was really keen on because I'm a really fussy eater. And it was really, really amazing. I was such a convert for it. I recommended it to all my friends. I absolutely loved it. It just meant I could give him little things that he could eat, pick up by himself. He could join in with family meals. It was absolutely amazing, and we'll 100% be using it again this time round. And once my baby hits 6 months, at the moment she's just 4 months old. So we're hoping that by the time she gets to 6 months, she'll be better at her hand-eye coordination, and we'll definitely be doing baby-led weaning again then.
Hiya, my name's Tegan and I have a 3-month-old called Lottie. Lottie's actually already being weaned because she's such a hungry baby. From birth, she was on breast and bottle because my little body couldn't keep up with how much milk she actually needed. And she absolutely loves her puree. She has it in between each feed on a bottle because of how hungry she is. And there's no repercussions from it. She doesn't gag. She doesn't have any digestive issues. She just absolutely just loves her food. I did want to wait for baby-led weaning, but you wouldn't stop your 9-month-old from walking straight away if they could. So why would I stop my 3-month-old from weaning?
So I started feeding my little girl purees from the age of 3.5 months. I know that the recommended solid feeding is a lot older, but I knew with being her mummy that it was the right time to give her solids because she just wasn't getting enough from just drinking milk, because I breastfed her, but she still needed that a little bit more. So I started off with purees, and she had like baby rice or banana breakfast, but she's now 11 months and I still feed her, but she has like crisps, fruit, rusk, and she just feeds all that herself. But for the majority of the time, I have done purees and fed her myself, purely because I don't like the mess and I don't want to clean it up. So I'd rather just feed her, and I'll slowly like ease her into feeding herself, and she'll just eventually want to do it. So yeah, my little girl's 11 months, started puree feeding from her 3.5 months, and we just went from there, and we just basically watched her and listened to her and what she wanted, and that's how I did it. Everybody's different.
Hi, my name's Becky, I'm 28 years old and I have little Ariella who is 9 months old. So we do a bit of both. We do baby-led weaning and purees, and that's just what's working for us at the minute. We did start purely on purees. I started weaning her around 5 to 6 months on baby rice, then porridge for breakfast, then we moved on to veg, trying all the different veg pureed, and then fruit pureed, and she did really well with those. As she moved to 7 months and the texture started getting a bit lumpier, she didn't do so well at all. She was actually sick a couple of times, and obviously she didn't have any of that meal because she threw it all up. So I had to go back to pureeing it fully. Then we tried baby-led weaning and around 6 to 7 months, and it just didn't work. She just wasn't ready for it at all. Everything was getting spat out, so I thought I'd leave it a month or two, see if it were an age thing. She also didn't have teeth at that age, so I don't know if that helped, because as she's got teeth now, I'm seeing that she's chewing the food and she's doing a lot better. So yeah, I do like to still give her a puree and not just baby-led weaning, because I don't know how much she's getting with the baby-led weaning. It's hard to tell, so I might puree some of the meal that she's having baby-led and give her a few spoonfuls as she's doing the baby-led weaning herself. And then obviously like a porridge for breakfast is like that kind of texture, and sometimes the puddings are fruit, they're a puree texture. So yeah, we do a bit of both, and that's just what works for us. And she's noisy. I would say don't worry if your baby is like 7, 8 months and they're still not into baby-led weaning. You don't even have to do it at all. I just wanted her to get used to obviously like feeding herself and being a little bit more independent. So yeah, I'd say don't worry, because it's took her until definitely past 9 months to even like get into it again. So yeah, you're gonna say bye-bye, waving, waving, waving bye-bye.
Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe as well. Next week's video will be on my breastfeeding story. See you guys soon. Bye!